Hi, everybody. I'm here with you today to share with you a little bit about my life. I I've always been one to say that it's not just about words. That you can't just you can't just walk the talk, or you gotta walk the talk. I think it's not coming together in my mind quite so clear, but I think you know what I mean. Um, so I've decided that what I'm going to do is I want to let you in on a little bit about what's going on with my life right now, in the current situation as I sit here with you. Because I think it's important. I think it's really important for you to know and see. And along the way, I'm going to upload more videos or pictures or whatever I'm able to do at the time, because I want to share with you my life struggles and show you how I find joy and show you how I get through it, regardless of whatever the situation is that is currently laid on your floor or doorstep, if you have one, which is ironically what this is about. And also the irony of life. I love these posts and stuff that I actually really want one of those sweaters that say, yeah, it takes happiness to know joy, and hate to know love. Like, life is all about the balance. It is all about, you've got to learn one side of it so that you can learn the other side of it. And then together in the middle of that, that's where you find balance. That's where you find your own inner wisdom. And so I want you to see that I'm not just somebody that is just talking the talk. I walk the walk, and which is actually why this Messengers of Light and of Love has not come into fruition until it has now, because all my whole life I've always wanted to help humanity, and I didn't know why or how or even what it even meant. I've always been the oddity in life, never understood, and so many times I was teased for it, and it shut me down. And so I doubted myself for a really long time, and um, it took it took a long time to get to where I am right now, and I wasn't ready to really walk the walk of the talk that I had. Not because I didn't want to, but just because the healing hadn't happened yet, which is kind of, the main point of a lot of this, is that for so much in my life, uh, I needed to put my own oxygen mask on. We've all been on airplanes, or you know the story where the stewardess says that regardless of what is going on, if it's your child, it doesn't matter who it is. If the plane goes down, you put your own oxygen mask on first, and then you help the one that is sitting right next to you. And quite literally, I feel like I did that. Like, well, I mean, I guess not literally, because I don't know, you know what I mean, metaphorically. So, so metaphorically, for the last year, I have gone through a lot of trials, and I have I put my own oxygen mask on, and um, it's hard not to let a lot of emotion come out with this, because it is very emotional, and that's okay. And which is one thing that I did have to learn, was it was okay to feel what I feel. Doesn't mean that I need to harbor it, doesn't mean that I need to resonate in it for a long time, but it's okay to feel something and then let it go. And letting it go in that aspect just means that you let yourself feel that emotion, you tell yourself that it's okay, and then you pick yourself back up off the ground and you say, okay, now what? Now what do I do? Now what do I do with what I've learned? And this, my friends, Messengers of Light and of Love, this is what I am doing with what I have learned. And I'm going to share with you some of the irony in my life. I currently right now am in Phoenix, Arizona, and I came out here just about 3 weeks ago to visit with my family, my girls. My son was out here at that time too, but he had to go back home to California. So I was here staying at the home of my oldest daughter, where a lot of healing, like so much healing happened while I was here in this beautiful home. Um, and through that healing, uh, one of the life's irony was that I healed from, like, I had a lot of fears, I had a lot of things going on. I'll touch base on that in more detail in other videos, because I'd really like to share some of those stories and what it was for me and how I made it through. But one in particular, I healed from abandonment issues. And that was a big one for me. That really was a huge one for me because it was deep-seated, way, way back in childhood. Uh, so the thing is that while I was out here healing um, from these things, I got to go to this place called Andre House out here, and where this oh my goodness, what they do, that so many other organizations like this also, but this just happened to be the one that I went to. My daughter invited me to go along with it. She still goes back and does community service with the community college that she went to, which she is now graduated from that and moved on to other things, but she still goes back, and she brought me along with her, and we got to go there. And my goodness, this lady was just explaining all the things that she does, and what Andre House there does. And I know that, I always knew that things came from donations, but I guess I didn't realize that even with the donations, how much money it really takes to do these things. And she was saying how it takes like $2,300 a month just to do this. And so, us volunteers being there, like it's impactful and it's life-changing for these people, and it was life-changing for me. And so after we were done there, I came over to her and I said, well, how do I get to do what you're doing? How do I get to be there and do what you're doing? Well, the funny thing is that I was at that time, I was so set on, yeah, I live in Ogden, Utah, and I'm going back home soon, and my ride is gonna come get me, and we're going back, and I'm really excited to get all of this started back there. And she's like, they don't have anything in Ogden, Utah. But she was going to look into some stuff for me and see if there was anything locally there that I could maybe have a hand in and work there and do stuff like that. What I wanted was more of a volunteer basis, more than that. I mean, I want to volunteer my time. I don't care if I get paid. I really don't. But I wanted something bigger than coming once a month or coming whatever. I was like, what can I do on a daily basis? That was where the desire really sparked and started at that point. And the funny thing is she made a comment. She's like, well, if you end up staying here, and I was like, oh, no, I'm going home. No. Home is in Utah. I'm like, it's too hot here. You can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, I can't stand the heat in Arizona. Okay, but anyways, obviously, there's been divine intervention, and obviously there is reason for me to be here. Now, here's my irony. As I mentioned, I healed from abandonment issues. The morning that I recorded the interview video, I quite literally was being abandoned by the person who was going to come out and pick me up. It was my only way back. I wasn't working while I was here, so I didn't have any funds. I didn't have any money or anything because I was dedicating these 3 weeks to my healing process. It really was kind of like the last final cherry on top, grand finale to finally teetering me over the side of being able to be healed. And so I sat there that morning. He was supposed to be here the night before, and so that morning I just was refusing to let myself get stressed because I knew that this was important. And I realized I've learned that if you let yourself be stressed about things that happen, if you resonate in those feelings of sadness and anger, and because life reaches out at us and it does that to us sometimes, so that we can learn the opposite. So I put it away. I said, okay, this is in your hands now. And I know that there's reason for this, so I don't know what it is, I don't understand, but I'm gonna ride this out, I'm gonna see where it goes. And I know now that when we allow stress and worry to overcome us, we have a harder time seeing the path. We have a harder time seeing the direction that we're supposed to go in, or of hearing when somebody is telling us something, or the messages that may come from other people, because, and I've said it a couple of times in some posts today, but I got to say it again, that God answers prayers through people, through their actions, through their words, so much, so often. Like, that's how it happens. And they might not know that what they're saying is doing that to you, and you might not know at first that what they're saying is doing that to you. But if you're listening with, slow to speak, quick to hear. You hear and you will know, and sometimes it's only pieces of what one person said and pieces of what another person said, and you bring them all together at the end, and you're like, oh, that's it. At least that is how it is for me. That's what's been happening for me. And so I got to make that video, and all of this has happened since then, and I just am so incredibly thankful and grateful. So what's the other side of the irony in all of those things that I said was, because I was abandoned, that actually left me homeless. So, you know, and it's not easy to say that when you get to that point, and I'm fine with it now. Like, I'm totally I'm like, whatever. Jesus was homeless. He wandered around until they put a cross on his back. So I'm like, I'm not worried about when or where or how I'm going to be provided for. But it's not that I'm sitting back and saying, okay, well, when's it going to happen? You know, I know I got a plan, but, you know, no. I'm doing things. I'm doing this to keep me motivated so that, you know, the ones of you that have read that post about what it means to pray for another day, to get through another day, that's what Messengers of Light and of Love has done for me. It's provided that purpose that I've had in my life. It's provided that thing for me that has given me that reason to want to keep going. And so I hold on to that, and I keep going because of all of you. Because every time somebody likes a post, because every time somebody tells me that it helped them, I pray for another day to say, what else can I do? Tears of joy, people, tears of joy. They don't only happen because we're sad. I am incredibly happy. I'm beyond words happy about this, but my emotion sometimes is so overwhelming that it spills out in tears. And that's okay, because I actually read a research project that said that if you hold your tears in, you're holding in toxins, because our tears release toxins. So it's actually quite healthy for you to let those tears out. Don't be afraid to cry. I was afraid to cry because I was teased about it for so long. Don't be afraid to cry, people. Just letting you know it's okay. The most powerful tears come from joy. And that's what those were. So please don't, and I'm not telling you any of this because I want any of you to feel bad for me or feel sorry for me, because let me tell you something. I have also learned the difference between empathy and sympathy. Let me tell you a little bit about that for a second here. Now, empathy, you feel. For me, because I am an empath, I literally can feel people's emotions. And I think that there are different kinds of empaths, that one of their senses may be stronger than the other, where somebody might be able to almost energetically see what is going on. Maybe somebody can hear like white noise, kind of crackly things. I'm not really sure. Once you start paying attention to these things, you'll start to know, and that's maybe a whole nother video, so I'm not going to go off into that tangent. But for me, I feel very intensely, almost like their emotion becomes mine. And for a long time, I had to learn to align my thoughts with my emotions and ask myself, is there a reason that I should be feeling this? And if I can legitimately say no, then I know that it's somebody around me. And I've learned over this last year how to really hone in on that. And so through all of this, what I have learned is that the difference between empathy and sympathy is that if you're empathetic with somebody, you feel their emotion in whatever way it is that you sense it. And then, so that's a better way to say it, you sense their emotion. As you sense their emotion, that doesn't mean to take it on as your own. That's what sympathy does. Sympathy, you take it on as your own, like it's your burden to bear, which is what I used to do. I used to feel like, because I grew up with people telling me all the time that how strong I was, so I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm strong, but everybody else apparently thinks that I am. So if I am, then that means that I must be able to bear this cross for them instead of letting them do it. So I would almost energetically take all of their trouble from them and absorb it as my own, and I would leave somebody's house and they would be all happy. They hadn't been happy in a really long time, but now they were happy, and for days I would just be down, and my life would start to spiral, and like, so do not take it on as your own. With empathy, you sense that there is something going on, and then you act on it. You do something about it. For example, let's say you and your girlfriend are sitting there, and I'm sorry, I'm a girl, so I'm using this example, okay? So say you and your girlfriend are sitting there, and you can just tell. You sense that maybe she's had a bad day, and she's kind of starting, and you know her because she's your friend, you know that there's something going on, and all of a sudden it's almost like you just like you feel it. You feel that she's sad and she's down. But instead of just being like, oh, well, cheer up, what's wrong? Cheer up. or even saying, what's wrong? Generally, when people are highly emotional, they don't want to express or don't know how to express with words, and a lot of times things come out incorrectly, and then you're just like going back and forth with words, and it's can be very counterproductive. And I know that all we want to do is help, and so this is how you help. If you know that one of her favorite things to do when that's like a comfort food for her or something like that, when you know that maybe she's feeling kind of down and you're starting to sense that she's feeling kind of down, and so get up, go to the freezer, get a bowl of ice cream for you and a bowl of ice cream for her. Don't say that you're doing this. Don't say anything. Don't ask her if she wants it. Just do it. Go get a bowl of ice cream. Sit down with her, just start eating ice cream and smile. Help her come out of that, because then she's either naturally going to talk to you, or she's naturally going to get out of that mood that she's in and help her see her own path clear enough. So that's what I'm saying, is like so much of all of this is about, like, it's acting. It's not just knowing that there's something going on. It's not just saying, well, cheer up, because telling somebody to just cheer up, I'm telling you, it doesn't work. They're not going to all of a sudden, oh, okay, I'll be happy now because you told me to be happy, I'll be happy. It doesn't work like that, does it? I'm sure you know it does not. So this is why I'm sharing with you that it's actions. It takes actions, not the words. And so many of even our actions have been misunderstood over time because of all the misperceptions of so many people before you coming into that person's life. This is also why it is highly, highly important to not take things personal. Back to the irony of my life. Now, I also bear the same title, homeless, as so many other people all over our nation. Now, I have it a little bit easier right now because I still get to stay at this home right now, but not in permanent. You know, I've got to go do something else. But technically, I mean, I am homeless. I don't know what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. I'm getting there one day at a time and figuring it out like as I go. But some people don't have it that easy, and you know, and the thing is that somebody else has always got it harder than you, and I don't tell you that so that you feel bad for them, so that you're feeling that sympathy or even the empathy for them. I tell you to remind yourself that somebody else always has it worse than you, so that you can learn how to be grateful for what you do have, not for what you don't. You can't control the things that are out of your reach. You can only work on what you can control in yourself. And so, like that lady that so inspired me said, well, if you don't go back to Utah, and I was like, well, yeah, but I am. Silly me, right? So, that was one of those things that for me was like a connection that, okay, God was trying to tell me I'm not going anywhere, I'm here. Now, just because I know that, just because I know the purpose, and because I understood that there was divine things, I felt like at first that meant that I wasn't supposed to be angry. I wasn't supposed to be hurt over what had happened to me, and that I was just supposed to be in this, what I am right now, in a very happy place. But, you know, I want you to know also that just because you understand that there's divine purpose, it's not okay for somebody to hurt you. And it is okay for you to feel that. It is okay to feel the anger that somebody has caused you. And it's okay, it's okay to feel what you feel. Cry it out if you've got to. Yell at them for a minute if you have to. Do what you need to do. Break some plates. I don't know, something. Do whatever you need to do to either release the anger, release the tears, let it go out. And then once it's out, just like, okay, now what? Pick yourself back up off the floor and keep on going and figure out what you do from there. Once I was able to release those emotions, that I released the hurt, I released the anger, I started seeing, you know, everything else more clearly again. And now I have this newfound desire that anybody that's listening to this that might know of something, please let me know, because I am now in the search of, and I've got a couple of resources. I'm going to go back to that lady that somehow like divinely knew that I wasn't leaving. I'm going to start with her, see where I can go from there. My new plan and what I would really like to do with my life is, because I need a job, I need a place to live. I want to find some kind of shelter or something that I can work in exchange for room and board, basically. Whether that be somebody's house and, you know, somebody that lives here locally opens up their home and says, hey, you can come stay here with me, or if you know somewhere where I can do this, because I plan on, regardless of where I am, I want to go find a place like Andre House where I'm going to go dedicate my time to. that when I'm not doing anything for Messengers of Light and of Love, as far as videos, all these things, whatever it is that we're doing with this, I want to be giving back to the community. And so I want to go live somewhere where I can be with those people. Like, and I thought it would be really awesome too if I lived there with them and worked with them. I want to go and sit with them and talk to them and let them feel like a person again, like their life matters, because guess what? It does, because if it didn't, they wouldn't be here. And I'm not saying that anybody who's died their life doesn't matter anymore. So don't take that the wrong way. I'm just saying every life matters. It does. All lives. I don't care what ethnicity you are a living being. You are an extension of God. And any assault on another human being, as far as I'm concerned, is a direct assault on God. Just saying. Anyhow, so I want to go and I just recently watched the movie Pursuit of Happiness, and breaks my heart. It does. And so many people don't understand what it's like for homeless people. They don't understand what it took to get them to that point. If it wasn't for my daughter right now, I would quite literally be living out on the streets with those people. So they don't all have somebody whose house they can stay at until they can figure it out. Not everybody has somebody else that they can rely on. And some people are physically quite alone in this world. And so they end up in places that they don't want to be in. And it's not as easy as, oh, get a job, and yelling at people like that when they're already in like the worst part of their life, and you're going down the street and you say something like that to them. Do you think that helps? I'm sorry, it doesn't. That does not help them. All that does is help keep them down, helps keep them down feeling the way that they are and resonating in the life that they're in. It doesn't help people. It doesn't help to be cruel. It doesn't. Sorry, the only thing that I really get worked up about nowadays is cruelty to another human being, because it's just uncalled for, and you're the only one that can do anything about it. We are, each individual person. We just gotta stop being so mean to people. Okay, so I want to go and be somewhere where I can give them hugs, where I am a smile in their dark place. So that is what I'm doing now, and I'm going to share my story along the way when I finally find whatever place that is, whether it's a home with somebody here in Arizona, whether it is somewhere, wherever it is. I'm going to share my story along the way with you. I'm going to show you, thankfully, with this wonderful technology that we have now, I'm not going to just write articles. I want you to see my excitement. I want you to see that this is real and believe what I believe. I don't mean that, I don't know if that came across wrong, but it's just I believe that we all have a light within us. I believe that once that light is ignited, it shines like a beacon light for others to follow. And sometimes all somebody needs is for one person to believe in them, to believe that they can do something. And it wasn't until I was out here in these 3 weeks that I felt like I had found somebody that actually believes in me, in my vision, as far as bringing light and love to the world. It's not a task I can do alone. And I think for so long I felt like it was a task I had to do alone, and it's not. It's not a task for me to do alone. And that's why this is a call of action to everybody out there, to all of you other fellow lights. Shine your lights. People, shine your lights. Let's let the world see that. It'll be nice when we get to a point when somebody's cruel and they're like, oh, there's still somebody like that? Oh, we need to shine some light around this person, right? I mean, it's so sad that kindness, love, generosity, that those are the things that people sit back and say, oh, you mean there really are people like you still out there? So sometimes all it takes is one person truly with their whole heart believing in you, and I never had that before, and it's been an amazing thing for me. And so I'm going to share my walk with you. You will see, I will share intimate parts of my life, like being homeless, I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of the life decisions that I have made that had led to this point. But had it not been for all of those life decisions, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I don't mean homeless. I have a joy in my heart and a love that I want to share with the world, even in these hard times. Because for me, it's not hard. For me, it just means that all of these things led me to the one place that I wanted to be, a place where I can truly help people. And so, I just invite all of you to be a part of that and join me on my journey as I shine my light wherever I go. Namaste.